I just finished this conversation with Chris Holley, and I am telling you, this is something you do not want to miss. We had a good talk. We almost went to church in here, but it was good conversation. Learned so much about him that I did not know. And I believe that in watching this story, you're going to learn something about yourself or someone that you love, and that your life is going to be better on the other side of it. So join us. We'd like to take a moment to thank our valued sponsors. John Travis, a financial coach and certified Kingdom advisor with Richard Young Associates, a registered investment advisor. We'd also like to thank Sense of Satisfaction by Cricket. And a special thanks goes to Paul H. Bush, the Burning Bush. Please note that the views and opinions expressed on this show may not necessarily be the views and opinions of our sponsors. And if you would like to sponsor, please reach out. We'd love to have you. It's time to hear the story, make the connection, learn the lesson, and gain the wisdom. Are you ready? Let's get charged and be changed. The Sister Speak Brother Break Show. Conversations on grace, healing, and deliverance. This is Marcy Bush. Come on, let's journey together. Now, when you went that 30 days, was it during school, during the summer? When was it?
It was during school.
Okay.
So I had to take what courses they gave me there. And then some of the credits, they allowed me to come back and I could test out like English, math.
Okay.
Some of your major credits, they let you test out and you got it, you got the credits.
Okay.
But I lost electives.
Okay.
And things like that. So my senior year, I needed every credit.
Okay. Okay. So now, were you chill at school, or were you kind of in trouble at school?
I wasn't in trouble a lot, but I was suspended about every year.
Okay.
Except for my senior
Was it
year.
for joking or fighting?
Fighting, stuff like that.
Okay.
Fighting. I would get detention, just doing the normal high school kid stuff.
Okay.
But then I get in fights that carried over from the weekend.
So did you have an anger issue, or was it just like, you ain't gonna punk me?
It was a little bit of bullying, anger issues.
Being bully or bullying?
Bullying.
Okay.
Anger issues. You got girlfriends in high school.
So,
Somebody talking with your girlfriend, messing with your girlfriend, however, whatever. And so that kind of stuff carries over.
Okay.
And so you have to deal with that.
Okay.
So it was a little bit of everything. And then I would see somebody else. I don't even have nothing to do with it, but I see somebody else getting into it, and you interject yourself into other people's stuff. And so I got suspended every year.
Okay.
Up until my senior year, I did make it all the way through that year.
Okay. So suspension, what did that look like at the house? You were working, or you was
that looked like
sleeping?
My grandma called him Mr. Boot Gifford. You know
Okay.
Mr. Boot Gifford?
Yeah, I remember Mr.
Boot. I got one, can't go to school. You got anything for him to do?
Okay. So you had to help because he was doing he was
a
doing
handyman. He did a little different stuff. And I remember Mr. Boot came and picked me up one morning, early in the morning. And we had to dig a sewer line, a drain for the sewer line, dig it up, and he was laying a new sewer line for me. And shovels. He said, yeah, I'm going to take care. I'm going to get you lunch and this, that, and the other, and I'm going to pay you. So when it came time for lunch, went to the hot spot. You got like a 33-cent cheer wine and one of them hot spot hot dogs.
Yes, sir.
And whatnot. That was your lunch. And then when it was time that evening when he brought you home, 5:30, 6 o'clock from early that morning, then he gonna pay you, and you might get $5. And grandmama didn't care.
Right.
She just wanted you working. She it wasn't about the money.
Exactly.
And so that that was my time. And suspension was mostly dealt working with him.
Mr. Boot.
Or either grandma would have something there.
I'm surprised you wasn't at the station, Chad.
I know, right? Had me up there changing tires.
Bushes had a lot of folk coming through there when they wasn't at school. You got something for him to do, Mr. Clarence?
She didn't let you lay around. So, and then as you get older, you try to hide it. So there was some opportunities there that you just left like you was going to school, and then you found something to do for the hours during the day, and then you come back till that get old. So, but it was, it was here and there. I didn't get suspended like every semester or something every quarter, but I had my times.
And so, once you made it through high school, what did that, so like even what you said was, what kind of posse? What was the posse?
Dodge City Posse.
Dodge City Posse.
Yeah,
see, I don't, like I said, I was not there. Did you come out of that? Did you continue in that? Did the look of it change?
No, we continued in that. So basically, Dodge City Posse, when we went to a place like Aiken, you remember skating ring was open. Sunday nights we go to skating ring.
Skating rink and Burger King.
Yep, skating ring and Burger King. And most time we get in a fight. Because, and it's not because you didn't like the people, or they didn't like you, it was just because of where you're from. So it was just a thing, New Ellerton, Aiken. And when I talked to my dad sometime, he used to talk about that because see, they had to go to school in Aiken. He went to Schofield.
Okay.
And from New Ellerton, and so that was an issue.
Okay.
And so it's kind of like that thing just kept breeding on. And so we would go there and get in fights and whatnot, and leave there, go to the skating ring, go to the Burger King, get in fights.
In the parking lot.
Right. But the posse thing, it kind of phased out once we got older.
Okay.
But it wasn't like we was a gang of guys packing guns, going looking for trouble. It's just that when we knew
But
we
you
was
were
in the
available
spot,
for it.
yeah. If somebody got in something,
You available.
a guy walked up on me at the skating ring, and I looked back looking for Calvin, and Calvin Gathers. Calvin was there, and so Calvin, when he stepped up, okay, yeah, I got help. So what you want to do? It was one of those type things. And, but so we just went through those years. All this time that we've been speaking about, too, was all that I was drinking alcohol.
Okay.
About 14, I think, was the first drunk I really remember.
Okay.
That was the worst drunk I ever had, I believe.
Okay.
And so from that point on, because it was available to me, I always hung out. My brother was 2 years older than me.
Okay.
And he was hanging out with guys 2 years older than him. So I always was hanging out with older guys. And so it was available. And, they were doing it. Nobody really offered it to you, but it's right there, go get it.
Okay.
And so started doing that. And a lot of my issues, I look back, was associated with that. And a lot of times people don't like to think that they were, because while I was doing it, I didn't think that I was.
Right.
And I know people that was addicted to alcohol. I know what alcoholism looks like, what I thought it looked like.
Right.
But it wasn't until I quit drinking that I realized I was addicted to alcohol. I had an issue with it. And it was even like to a point where if I couldn't go and be where the boys was, or be where the fun and the drinking was going on, it was like I had an attitude.
Okay.
Irritable. Your whole mood changed. But then when you get in that environment, you get one beer,
Right.
you level off.
Right.
And so beer, liquor, we doing it. And so I went through to about 17 years of that. Just drinking.
Really?
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
It was crazy.
Okay.
But life is going.
Yeah.
And you don't see where you got a
So
problem.
you were functional.
I'm functional. Yeah.
Highly functional.
Yeah, going to work, doing everything once I got to the point of working and all that. And drinking and driving. Oh, I drive better when I had a few beers.
Sure.
Everybody says that. And got a DUI in 97.
Okay.
Had to get over that hump. Didn't realize, and people don't realize how much money a DUI costs. Because it's not just getting out of jail and paying your lawyer and whatnot, but the insurances you got to pay and all of that.
Did
stuff
you have
associated.
thing you had to blow into or something?
No, I didn't do that.
Okay.
If you had 2 or 3 or something like that,
Okay.
if they considered you a habitual offender,
Okay.
then you would have to get that. But
Okay.
I just had the one. Not saying that's the only time I did it.
Right.
That was the only
That's
time.
the only time I got caught.
Right. But alcohol was a big part of all my issues growing up.
Okay.
And so we did that.
Have you considered have you stopped to, I guess, kind of assess and figure out, well, and I know people are mischievous, but what then leads you to continue? Even like, because you remember earlier, I was like, well, did you have an anger problem, or was it just, and you said it was kind of a combination of things. So do you think you were running from something, or avoiding, trying not to deal with certain things, so you went this way, or?
I think you're trying to fit in, trying to fit a certain mold or expectation.
And then it catches you.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's kind of that, just trying to be the cool kid, trying to be the one everybody likes, trying to be the one that fits in. And so then you fall into this mold.
Gotcha.
That's been created and that everybody seems to fall in. And I wouldn't say I necessarily had anything that drove me to it other than just wanting to be a part of what everybody else was doing.
So the acceptance, the image, and like you said, peer pressure is
rough.
Oh yeah,
that's why I stress to my kids. Be careful who you with,
right?
Who you hang around, what you allow to get in your ear gate and your eye gate. I say just everything shines ain't gold. We hear all the same.
Right.
And it's really true. And all the things that look good necessarily ain't always good.
Right.
And so we fight those challenges. Try not to get engrossed with them and drawn in by them, but if you entertain it long enough.
Oh yeah, because like you said in the beginning, it could start out being that peer pressure, but then like you said, you started to realize that you were dependent on it, and everything begins to change because it messes with the physiology, like you physically start to need it.
You start to have withdrawals.
Yeah.
After so many hours, you like, man, I done worked all day. I ain't going home unless I get me a beer. Stuff like that. And then you start buying it, putting it in the house, and having it available.
Then a beer, 6-pack, 12-pack. What I'm gonna keep? Yeah,
my wife was so aggravated with me, and I got a buddy down in Allendale. And Tuesdays, I don't know why Tuesdays, but we'll leave work on a Tuesday afternoon and get drunk like it was a Friday night.
Wow.
And she would be so frustrated and aggravated, but we'd get up, go to work on Wednesday.
So then you drive from Allendale drunk?
Well, most time we'd be up on this end.
Oh, okay.
But I have had my times I drove from Allendale drunk, but he'll be driving back to Allendale drunk. And then we get to work Wednesday and like, man, I feel rough. I ain't drinking no more. I'm doing this.
Till next Tuesday.
Lord, let me live through the day. I ain't doing till that night, Wednesday after work. But we don't hook up to that degree. Okay. But when you get off, the hot spot or the first store you get to, you get another beer or something. And that's what it became.
Right.
And so it led to all kind of problems, issues there. I had children at this time and wasn't really a father. Okay. I was the dad, but I wasn't there for them. Like I said, I had 3. When I was 17, my first daughter was born. Okay. And then right after I graduated, I had twin boys. And it's like, man, you got 3 kids right out of high school. Whew. And grandma was like, you gonna take care of these kids. Okay. And I was like, okay. And so you ain't taking care of no kids at 19.
Right. 3
Not
at
3.
that.
Not at 19.
Okay.
And so the kids, their mom, she actually took them and they moved to Toccoa.
Same mother?
Same mother. Yep. Okay. All 3 of them by the same mother. Okay. And they moved to Toccoa, Georgia, which is like 2.5 hours away. Wasn't no big deal. It's freedom for me now. I don't have to worry about keeping them going to, making sure they got anything. And went to court, paid the child support, whatever it was. It was small. I was even surprised that it was that small. Okay. But even at that, couldn't pay it. Because I had to have my do what I wanted to do. I
wouldn't pay
it. Wouldn't pay it. Wouldn't pay it. And so they grew up basically without me. Okay. Until I guess their 9th, 10th grade year. And then we started getting more involved. Now I would see them. They would come home for summer. They would stay with us. Okay. Sometime during the summer, holidays and whatnot. Just had that type of relationship. But as far as just
in their lives, day to day.
Who I am. And seeing them and watching them grow up and all of that. Didn't have that rec league experience and all of that with them. And until they were like high school. Okay. So when they got in high school, then I got closer. Okay. And started. By that time, I had to turn the corner. Okay.
And you had other children that were in your area by the time they were in high school?
Right, yeah. Okay. About every 2 years, it seemed like a child was coming from somewhere.
Okay. All right, gotcha.
Yeah. So there was the 3 oldest, and then Jazz, then Mia, and Deja, and CJ.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And so, but were you in their lives on the daily, but were you engaged? Were you fathering, were the younger ones?
Yeah, see, Mia moved with us. We got Mia when she was like 2. So she moved by that time. Me and Shantae was married. and me and Mia moved with us. Then Jazz moved with us in the 5th grade. She had to come. Her mom was having some issues there, and so they brought her. We got her in the 5th grade, and then her mom died.
Okay.
And so she ended up staying with us.
Okay.
And so Jazz been with us since 5th grade. Mia since she was 2.
Okay.
And Deja, she lived in Augusta.
Okay.
And so she raised up over there, but she would come weekends, holidays,
Okay.
stuff like that.
Okay.
But we had a relationship that just could have been better.
Okay.
Even that one could have been better. And then of course CJ was in the house, so
Okay.
he's been there every day.
Gotcha. And so some of the, and I know at times it's like the older we get, the younger ones can get the better of us. You know, they get the best of us, you know, because we've made so many mistakes, or we've had so much
You learn.
trial and error.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you learn.
And then maturity helps you see, like, okay, this ain't fair to them.
Right. And like you say, you see the mistakes you made. So like with my older boys, I told them, look, I can't go back and get those years. Those years are gone. I wish, you know, now I look back and wish that I could have been there.
Right.
But I can't go back and get them. I said, but if
Right.
you give me the opportunity,
Yeah.
I'll be the father that y'all deserve
Yeah.
going forward.
Yeah.
And so we've done that. We've built that relationship.
Good.
In fact, they took me out to eat last night.
Really?
Father's Day. They
Okay.
missed Father's Day, so they took me out to eat last
Okay.
night. And we sat down at Longhorns and was eating and just talking and reminiscing over some things.
Okay.
So we built that bond and that
That's
relationship.
good. That's good.
And so now when CJ came along, it was like, okay, we're gonna get it right this time. We're not gonna make those same mistakes. So from rec league all the way up,
Okay.
I've been right there with him,
Okay.
coaching him at times and whatnot. Matter of fact, that's how me and Pat got real close.
Okay.
Met through the boys.
Yes.
And then me and him
Yes.
grew real close.
Yes. Okay. And it's just amazing, like you said, how over time and how life just teaches you lessons.
Yes.
Life, like, I mean, it will open your eyes to so much. And then when you start seeing, oh, I don't want them to be like I was.
Right. Oh,
I want them to choose better, you know. And sometimes you hit that, well, I thought you, right, but I want better for
I want
you.
better for you. That's
I
why I
want
share
better.
my experiences and I tell them.
Yes.
You know, when I first started pastoring, I went to Jordan Baptist in Barnwell.
Okay.
And I would be transparent, and I would share my testimony, and share some things. And one of the ladies, older lady at the church, said, maybe I shouldn't be so transparent. And I said, well, I'm hoping that it'll help somebody not have to make the decisions that I had to make.
Right.
A lot of what I've done, I did it looking up to the wrong people.
Yes.
And made a lot of mistakes that I could have been avoided had I picked better role models or made better decisions, or had I heard it maybe.
Right.
And so I'm sharing myself in order that others can see and look. Like I tell my son all the time, man, look, I went down that road.
Yeah.
So now when you at that what we call crossroad, I'm standing there with you to tell you don't go that way.
Right. That's right.
Because I already know there's nothing down that road.
Exactly.
And so that's why I try to share.
Yes.
Whether it's through mentoring, through just meeting people and talking, and they start sharing some of their experiences, I try to share mine in order to help to better somebody. Because I mean, I don't think God puts us through anything
Exactly.
just for us.
Exactly.
It's to help somebody
Exactly.
else and to help to develop them.
Yes, yes. So, do you think, and I know our steps are ordered and God has it the way it is, but even today as we were coming, I'm like, I wonder, so when you see the generations that are here now, this generation that is before us now, and like you say, you are, because I really do think it's important, even with my nieces and nephews. I know sometimes my sisters and brothers probably be like, girl, you ain't got to be telling all that. But when I see the struggle that I've been through, I feel like if I'm sitting there, because I've taken off the rose-colored glasses, you know, and when I see it and I know it, I feel like if I can say, yo, you know, I noticed, blah, 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 or just like.
I feel like you got a responsibility.
Yeah, because you don't want them. That stuff is painful. We go through, like you said, we experience and cause pain. And if we can get somebody out of it, so then looking at even the neighborhood boys. And so I know in your church, you're transparent. And I feel like, and I'm so grateful, because even on Facebook, I see so many people that are, coming back to church. Or because I feel like when I look at our generation, like I said, I'm 3 years older than you. And then when I taught school, because I taught for 24 years. And so I taught our little sisters and brothers, and then into my generation's children.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, we dropped the ball. It feels like it was our generation that something happened. We stopped saying, let's go to church. We stopped having that standard. Stopped saying, oh, you will not.
Yep.
And even though they do it, I don't know it. We stopped with the stand. That's how I feel. And I'm like, at what point? And so it feels like as grandparents, then we're trying, some of us, to recover and recoup this next group. But so when you see like not just your children, which that's a generation, but the ones out that are even younger now.
Children's children.
Yeah. What do you feel like? What kind of responsibility or what kind of influence or impact do you think you can have? What do you see would be something that helps, or what do you do to help? I know that was a long question with a whole lot of explanation, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, but like you said, we look and we look at this generation that's before us, and we see it every day on the news, murders and gang violence and things like that. And then you start to weep for the next generation because you're wondering, it seems like each one gets worse. And like you said, I think we did in our generation drop the ball because we didn't want our kids raised like we were raised. Under strict parents.
We ain't get to go nowhere. We ain't get to do nothing.
So you try to relax them and give them some freedom, but look at us.
Right.
It worked for us. And so sometimes we don't have to reinvent the wheel, just do what works. Maybe not be, in some cases, as stern and hard as they were, but loosen up in that. But when it comes to discipline, we have to remain in a state of course.
Discipline with a conversation.
Right. Absolutely. And so we got a responsibility, and I believe this generation even can be recouped, but we have to get to where we can get their ear. And so as a pastor, I can't always be Reverend Holley. Sometimes I got to come down to the level where they are and meet them where they are in order to reach them. My grandson, I'm going back to some of the old school methods, because like we was talking about before we got on. Oh yeah. How to they'll say anything and want to talk, and you be like, hold up, you got to stand up and say, look, bro, what I said. And bring them into check. And one thing you were saying about, I think you're saying about trauma or hurting and stuff, and how that affects us and then the next generation. And the thought popped in my mind: hurting people hurt people. Yes. And so a lot of times when people have been bruised or damaged and they lash out, they don't know how to harness their emotions or handle their emotions, and they end up hurting people as a result of that. And it becomes just repetitive, one thing after another. And so we have to understand that if somebody's doing something just crazy, wild, what's the why? Yes. Let's figure out why they're dealing with in that area. Get people to talk. One of the biggest things is, particularly as men, we don't talk. Right. And so now when we have emotions, it manifests in violence. It manifests in explicit sexual relationships or whatever the case might be, because we're trying to harness emotion and emotion and carry ourselves in a certain way, but we don't know how to process it, how to do it, and so it comes out wrong. And so as we look to impact the generations, I think it takes honesty. Look, this is where I was, this is who I am, and I'm sharing this with you so you don't have to go the same path, or so that you can understand that the mistakes you made don't define you. They just qualify you for the next level.
Yes.
And so, you know, a lot of times people live in regret and disappointment. They're disappointed in themselves.
Right.
And so they can't prepare themselves further.
And when that, it's like, even when we see things, I think something that people do that they don't realize, even if you see somebody doing something and you approach them, just like you said when that coach got in your face, the approach.
It's the approach.
Yes, yes, it's the approach. So that approach sometimes is everything.
Right.
So it's just like when I was teaching, you know, and sometimes I probably did, I don't want to say cross the line, but I was in teaching not because I loved English.
Right.
I was gifted in English, so that was just the avenue to be able to touch lives, to be able to have impact, because I remember I wanted to be what I didn't feel like I had.
Thanks so much for joining us today. If you've been blessed by today's show, feel free to let us know. And if you'd like to sow into this ministry, become a sponsor, or contact us, you can reach us at 803-221-0169, or you can email us at the ssbbshow@gmail.com. Let's continue this journey together. Missed any of our past episodes?
The pain that I've gone through, I've been through lots. Depression, perversion, low self-esteem, rejection. But I'm here, and I'm loving life, and I'm changed forever. I'm trying to maim you, to leave you, like, physically and mentally maim you. He wanted your life.
I don't think he so much wanted my life is that he wanted some results. He wanted me to stay in the earth and not be who I am now.
Piece where you start talking about it was your love walk.
Yes.
We had an opportunity to not only share our experience, but find out that there were so many women in the room who had similar experiences.
Advice would you give to people who find themselves in the grips of grief right now?
The pain is inevitable, but the suffering is
You
optional.
were still sick, you still weren't well, but did something change for you when they gave it a name?
Yes, because once they put a label on it, I felt like they was putting a label on me.
We're in the class, and the first thing this guy says when he comes in the room, he started pointing, dead, 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 to everybody in the room. So he started talking about, you know, you're an alcoholic, you're an alcoholic. And I said, I ain't no alcoholic, I'm not an alcoholic. So I said, I'm an alcoholic. Never, I
But you
said
still
it,
didn't believe it.
I said it just so I could get out the class. I still ain't think I was no alcoholic.
So when did you realize you were?
After I got delivered.
Oh my God.
Catch up on past shows on my YouTube channel at Marcy Bush, MarceyBush. And be sure to subscribe so you won't miss any future episodes.